Hi everyone, this lesson is about how to begin a personal recount. So I'll be talking about how to choose a good starting point whenever you want to write a personal recount and what to write in the first paragraph. So I will talk about some of the things that I would recommend you to include in your first paragraph. Okay, now some students, they write boring events that took place from the very start of the day, okay, as their introduction. So this is an example. So as you can see in this example, the student talks about how he woke up when his alarm clock rang, how he walked to the bathroom, breakfast, and all these details are actually quite boring. Don't you agree? We all wake up on our bed, so this is really unnecessary detail when our alarm clock rings. So all these details are really quite redundant and very boring. Okay, it doesn't make the reader want to read on. So just a word of advice, you do not have to begin your personal recount from the very start of the day. Okay, you can choose another starting point. So for example, if let's say this is a timeline from 7 p.m. to 12 noon. Say this student is writing about an excursion to, a class outing to the museum, for example. All right. And he doesn't have to start he doesn't have to write his personal recount starting from 7 a.m., the events that happen at 7 a.m. Okay. He could choose 8 a.m. Alright, because at least there is some action going on here. These parts are not very interesting. So even if you are writing on a trip to the museum, for example, and while it's true, while it really did happen that you really did wake up at 7 a.m. and you really did take a bus to school, okay, and you really did have breakfast, but you don't have to tell the reader about all these boring things. You could straight away start off with 8 a.m. Okay, so in the first paragraph, try to tell us about the place or time. Okay, for example, over here, as you can see, the writer says it was after examinations, and my school organized an excursion to the museum. So we gathered in the school. Okay, so we have the time, we have places. Another example, this is a slightly more interesting version of the introduction, but as you can see, the time is still mentioned, the place is still mentioned. Okay, yeah, this one is slightly more descriptive with more words, more vocabulary words. Okay, we also encourage you to talk about the people involved in the first paragraph. So introduce the people that are involved. But try not to sound too boring again, how to sound interesting. Don't list the people, for example. Do not write something like this. Don't say the people who were going on the excursion were my form teachers, my classmates, and I. This is so boring because you're just listing the people involved. Alright. You can just mention them. Okay, so this is exactly the same paragraph that I showed you just now. But as you can see, this student kind of just mentioned about the people involved. Okay, the secondary 1 students, without this kind of listing boring sentences. Okay, the student just simply mention it, as if unintentionally. All right, in the first paragraph. Okay, again, half of the students were not paying attention when the teacher, okay, everyone was excited when the coach for our class, okay, we cheered noisily, much to our form teacher's dismay. So you just kind of mention the people involved, okay, without listing them one by one in the same sentence. So let's recall, it's not good to begin our personal recount right from the start. If those events are not interesting, they usually aren't interesting. Alright, so we should introduce the setting and the people in the first paragraph as much as possible, alright? And that's it. So we have come to the end of this video, okay? So I hope you will make use of what you have learned in this video lesson in your next personal recount that you are asked to write. Thank you very much.